guys. Today we're going to be talking about variable ND filters. Do you need them? Do you not need them? What are the use cases? What even is a variable ND filter? Well, these are going to be some things we're going to talk about today, but first, gotta wash my car. So, let me just flip this out. That's better. So, if we take a look here at my car, it's definitely pretty dusty. That sucks. You don't want that on there. Not only that, if you come around, we look at my rims, we see not good, like, here, if I just see that in my finger, like, yeah, not good. This is not what we want to see on a car that is supposed to be my daily driver. So I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna wash it up, and throughout washing my car, we'll talk about variable ND filters. Super nice guy just pulled up, dropped off a package today, and was wondering what I was doing. So I told him I'm filming some videos and talking about variable ND filters. So super nice guy. Anyway, so the first thing that we want to talk about is what is a variable ND filter? Lots of you have probably heard the term variable ND or VND, or you've seen something along those lines on a camera or in a store. VND, or variable ND, stands for variable neutral density. So ND, neutral density filter. What a neutral density filter does, so it essentially, it brings down all of the wavelengths and all of the color at an equal level, similar to sunglasses. If I put on my sunglasses, you can even test this out at your own place where you are now. I have a pair of sunglasses. So when you put on your sunglasses, all of the wavelengths, all of the brightness gets brought down at an equal level. Instead of just one color being brought down and the rest of them staying up, they're all brought down at a similar level. So that's kind of what a variable ND is and what it does with your camera. So now that we kind of know what a variable ND filter is, let's talk about when you would want to use one. Take today for instance. It's a very sunny, it's a very bright day. If I didn't have a variable ND on, it would be very, very overexposed. As you know, when you shoot video, your shutter speed, oh no, there's a chip in the paint. That makes me very sad. Anyway, so as you know, when you shoot video, your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. It's the standard 180-degree rule. If I'm shooting at 30 frames a second, what's my shutter speed gonna be? Yeah, 60. It's gonna be at 1/60th of a second, which means there's gonna be a lot of light introduced into my image. And now if I'm shooting at even 100 ISO, that's super insanely overexposed, and I'll show you what that looks like a little bit later in the video. That's just one of the times that you would use it. Another time that you would use it is if you're doing long exposure photography. So as you know, to get a long exposure, you need a very slow shutter speed. So you're shooting at speeds of like 1 second, half a second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. These are all very bright images if you didn't have a variable ND. I did some of my first long exposure photography the other day when I was going on a hike with a friend. I tell you, I was really happy that I brought my variable ND, because I almost didn't bring it, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to be filming anything, so I don't need my variable ND, but I packed it anyway, because I had a feeling Well, if I didn't bring it, I probably would have needed it. So having a variable ND filter is going to be a really good piece of kit if you're doing any vlogging, any outdoor filming, or if you decide that I kind of want to try some long exposure photography, or just photography that you need a very slow shutter speed, not necessarily long exposure, but a slow shutter speed, and you're in the bright daylight. For example, this image right on the screen that you're seeing right now, that was shot at a track day in Victoria. I shot that at a 1/25th of a second shutter speed to get that really nice blurred background. Okay, now that this guy's finally done, I finished the other tire, well, the other wheel while I was waiting, so we're on to this one here. Anyway, as I was saying, to get all that motion blur in the background but the subject in focus, it took me about 200 shots to actually get this image, but also I had to shoot it at 1/25th of a second. The lower the number of your shutter speed, the more light that's going to be in your image. So I had to throw in a variable ND on there, and that allowed me to expose it how I wanted it, and it allowed me to get a good image how I wanted it to come out. And look at that photo, it looks amazing. It's one of my proudest photos I've taken. I've been taking photos for over a year now. If that doesn't speak to what a variable ND filter can help you with, I don't know what does. Honestly, even though this is an insanely hot day, there's something very therapeutic about cleaning my wheels. It's just very satisfying watching all the dirt completely just disappear. In case you were wondering, no, the rims that came with this car are not black from the manufacturer. I painted them black. Yeah, that was quite a lengthy process. If you want to see my full restoration project on this car here, my 1988 Corolla wagon, I can drop the links in the description to my other channel that has the 2-part restoration project. However, that's my last channel and I don't post there anymore, so there's no reason to subscribe. But if you are, might as well subscribe here. The other time that you would probably want a variable ND filter is when you want a shallow depth of field. To get a shallow depth of field, you need a very wide open aperture. A wide open aperture means more light is going to be coming into the sensor. We want to reduce the amount of light coming into the sensor by using our sunglasses for the camera, also known as a variable ND filter. For example, currently my camera, the lens is set to f3.5. If I take the aperture and I bump that down, or I bump it up, you're gonna notice the image is gonna get darker. Now, if I bring it back down to 3.5, the image is gonna get a lot brighter. There's just a quick demonstration of the lower the aperture number, or the more wide open the aperture is, the more light you're gonna get in your image. So there's a lot of different variables. See what I did there? So there's a lot of different variables that allow us to figure out whether we need a variable ND filter or not. So do you need... My head was completely cut off there. So do you need a variable ND filter? Well, let's think about it. Are you going to be doing any outdoor filming? Are you going to be doing any filming or photography in very bright scenarios? If so, you probably need a variable ND filter. I might even still recommend that you pick up one, because you're going to be in scenarios where you don't want to crank your shutter speed, because that'll ruin what you're trying to do. I think a variable ND filter is something that every photographer and every filmmaker should have in their camera bag. No matter what you're doing, you should always have one, because chances are either someone you're going with needs an ND filter and now you can be that friend that has an ND filter, or you're gonna need one yourself. So I would recommend that you pick up a variable ND filter, and if you can't afford it, there are some pretty good budget options out on the market. I'll have some links down below to the ones that I use. So I'm gonna do some tests between yes ND and no ND in this very hot sunny day. I think it's 30 degrees out, bright sunny, no clouds in the sky. So I'm going to do a test between a properly exposed image with a variable ND on my camera and the same settings, same shutter speed, same ISO, everything, but no variable ND. So here's that now. In case you're wondering, this camera has been outside for probably around 4 hours, 3-4 hours, and it is not overheated. It's still it's like the camera itself is very warm, but it is not actually overheated, which is good. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below, and if you really enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.